It's no secret that the stock market has been quite volatile over the last year, and with so many different things affecting the economy right now, most are expecting another big drop by the end of the year and possibly even a recession very soon. The toughest thing for a good investor like yourself is to figure out where to put your money, because you know that just leaving it in your checking account is going to get eaten up by inflation, or even worse, might just get spent. This video is going to give you 4 places to consider parking that money as we figure out the investing landscape moving forward. This video is also being sponsored by NordPass, which goes hand in hand with safety, because that's what they're all about. But more on that later. I'm Nolan Govea, my students call me Professor G, and I made this channel to make investing simplified. Let's talk about 4 safe investments to make you some money in 2023. First would be US Treasury Securities, and there's 3 different types, but I only recommend one of them. The first type is called a Treasury bond. These long-term Treasury securities carry maturities of 20 to 30 years. Bondholders receive interest payments every 6 months and are paid the face value of the bond at maturity. The next type of US Treasury security is called a Treasury note. These intermediate term securities offer maturities of 2 to 10 years. They pay interest twice annually and return the par value, or face value, at maturity. And I don't recommend either of those first 2 for right now, but what I do recommend is this third one. And this last type is called a Treasury bill or T-bill. T-bills have short maturities of 4, 8, 13, 26, and 52 weeks. Since they offer such short maturities, T-bills don't offer interest payment coupons. Instead, they're called zero coupon bonds, meaning that they're sold at a discount and the difference between the purchase price and the par value at redemption represents the accrued interest. The way to buy these T-bills would be to go to Treasury Direct. You can see here how much interest on average the latest T-bills have been getting, and it's looking like between 4% and 6%, which is definitely a nice return right now. So I recommend T-bills as far as treasuries for right now for 2 reasons. The first is that they're basically risk-free. Other than opportunity cost and inflation, there's no real risk to these because you'll get a return in the form of interest. It just may not be that substantial. The federal government has never defaulted on an obligation, and it's universally believed it never will. Investors who hold T-bills can rest assured that they will not lose their investment. And reason number 2 why I like this option is because of the time domain. As stated earlier, I do believe that the market is going to take a little bit of a drop near the end of this year, and so if your money's tied up in some of those longer term type bonds, then if the market does drop like 30 or 40% and you want to switch that money out, you're going to have to pay a fee or a penalty to take money out. If the market does drop substantially, it's in one's best interest to then throw money in so that they're at the bottom, and then when that does correct, could really make some gains. Now, the second one on my list is one that holds your money for a little bit longer, at least a period of time to where you can't pull it out, but it provides a very strong interest rate, one that's 200 to 500 times what you're getting right now in your normal savings account. The reason that I do really like this one though is that it tells you the locked in interest rate before you put your money in, so you know how long your money's gonna be tied up and how much you're gonna get at the end of this for sure. The T-bills from before don't tell you exactly what the percentage is going to be by the time that it hits maturity. You just kind of have to average it out and look at it the way that we did. So to know for absolute certain, this next option is for you. This one is called a certificate of deposit, and it's an amazing option. A CD is basically a savings account that has a maturity date, and on that date you'll receive access to your money again, and it will have grown that interest amount. For example, this one from the company Marcus by Goldman Sachs is offering a 5.05% CD for a 10-month maturity. It gives you guaranteed 5.05% at the end of those 10 months. So if you put in $10,000, you'll then have $10,505 in 10 months. As you can see, this is FDIC insured, which is very important these days. So obviously the pro is that you'll know how long the term is, and you'll know exactly how much interest you're going to be gaining on this. The other thing is that it's a forced savings account, so it'll make it so that you're not able to touch that money and be tempted to use that money. The con would be that if the market were to drop like crazy 5 months in, you wouldn't be able to take that money out without some type of a fee. So there is some opportunity cost there possibly. Still an awesome option and one that I think that everyone should definitely look into. Now this whole video is all about safe investing, and so I'm super excited to have partnered up with the sponsor of this video, NordPass, because they provide safety in your daily life, which is even more important. NordPass is a secure password manager that uses end-to-end encryption to protect your passwords, and since most of our lives these days involve inputting at least one password per day, this leaves you very vulnerable. This is a great product for you personally and even better for your team at your business. NordPass lets you securely store your critical information, get real-time breach alerts, automate and make your life easier, and gives you secure sharing to share access between teams to make collaboration easy. Especially with different investing accounts and different bank accounts, I definitely want all of my passwords and things to be very secure. And now you can see NordPass Business in action now with a 3-month free trial with the link down in my description, and with code professorgpass. Now the third option for safe investing with a solid return is definitely one of my favorites. This is one that I'm always taking advantage of, and it's very, very solid because of its liquidity. I'm okay taking like a 3.5% interest over something that's 4% interest if it means that I can access my money at any time. And this option is the high yield savings account, and some of my favorite high yield savings accounts are Ally, Capital One, SoFi, and American Express. As you can see, American Express gives a 3.75% annual percentage yield, which eclipses that of the national savings rate for a normal savings account. You can find so many different high yield savings accounts out on the internet with lists like these, but what I'd recommend is that you go with the most reputable company and make sure they are FDIC insured. Safety is a theme on this video, and so sometimes a company may have some crazy attractive yield that's way higher than the competition, but that's because it puts you a little bit more at risk to go with that company because they're much less reputable. That's why, again, I like Ally and Capital One and SoFi and American Express, because those are reputable, they've been around for a while, and they definitely know what they're doing. I personally use Capital One and have found it to be such an easy experience with a very user-friendly app, and since I already had credit cards with them, it's been a seamless process. Now, high yield savings accounts do have a certain interest, but that interest can change. It can go down, but it can also go up. When I first opened my account with Capital One, it was at something closer to 2%, and now it's at 3.5%. And so that's pretty awesome because I haven't had to do anything to get that extra percentage yield. They just tack it on and now I get more interest. I also like that there are 0 fees and no minimums. All right, the last place that I see as a safe investment right now is one that I actually see as a safe investment always. And just so you know, for those of you that stick around to the end, I actually have a bonus pick as well. So stick around to the end for that. But anyway, just so you know where I'm coming from. Safe to me doesn't mean only that the price will continually go up and that every month or every year it's going to for sure be positive and be up high. When I think of a safe investment or one that's going to be consistent, I'm thinking that I want to have more money, substantially more money, than what I put in, but I'm definitely investing with the understanding that I'm going to let it sit there and I'm not going to touch it until I need that money anyway. So it doesn't really matter if it goes down 1 year and it goes up the next year. As long as 10 years from now, 15 years from now, whenever it is that I actually need that money, it's gone up a bunch, that's a win for me. If you plant a seed today and then tomorrow expect to see a tree, you're probably going to be let down by that. Same thing with investing. You definitely shouldn't expect to just put money in and then tomorrow it be up a whole bunch. There's a process and good things take a little bit of time. Now we're planting the seeds with the expectation of long-term growth, and what we need to do is make sure and plant good seeds. So good seeds in the investing world is to take really, really solid ETFs with low fees and make sure and make that the foundation of your portfolio. The least risky would be VU, the S&P 500 ETF, and then a very solid dividend ETF, which I choose SCHD. Both of these have statistically gone up for a long period of time, and I can count on solid returns in the future. Now, of the 4 choices that I've talked about in this video, this is definitely the most risky, but I truly believe that 10 years from now, this ETF will likely have doubled in value, and so for me, that makes it a very, very solid investment. And historically, good solid ETFs are a very safe play. Now, like I mentioned earlier, an honorable mention in number 5 on this list would be extremely solid dividend stocks. If they're consistent and they're strong and they've been paying a dividend for a while, even if their price goes down, they're still going to be producing cash flow, and so that makes them very, very safe. To see which 10 dividend stocks I'd buy and hold forever, watch this video now.